The Last of Us, a post-apocalyptic thriller, has only a few episodes in, but we're already hooked on Joel and Ellie's trek across the US after a fungal infection wiped off the majority of humanity. The fact that a second season of the gripping survival thriller has been ordered only 2 episodes after the show's premiere is fantastic news. It will hopefully start production later this year. When will there be more The Last of Us episodes to watch, and what will become of Ellie, Joel, and the poor individuals who have contracted the disease and been transformed into revolting fungi? To learn everything there is to know about The Last of Us Season 2, come out from behind the couch. The Last of Us Season 2 potential release date. When will it air? There are 9 episodes in all in The Last of Us's first season, which is presently showing. The second season has only been revealed, so it will be some time until we see the episodes of Season 2. Executive producer Craig Mazin told the Washington Post that it took about 200 days to film the first season in Canada. Subsequently, it took many months to edit the show and add the incredibly spooky fungus special effects. From the time the first scene was filmed to the premiere of Season 1 on January 15, 2023, it took a total of 18 months. If we apply the same time frame to Season 2, we would not anticipate to see any new episodes of the season until at least the middle of 2024, even if production were to start this week. This is because scripts must be prepared and cast and crew must be assembled. The Last of Us Season 2 cast, who's in it? This is where things get complicated because a lot depends on how much of the first season of the show is dedicated to the first game's story. Mazin affirmed that the first season is the events of the first game in an interview with Consequence. You can see from viewing the marketing materials, assuming you've played the game, that we're also covering the Left Behind DLC's events. The Last of Us Left Behind was a free add-on for the original game that focused on 2 timelines. In the first, Ellie is seen with her friend Riley in an abandoned Boston mall 3 weeks before The Last of Us, and in the second, set in the main timeline, Ellie is seen searching for medical supplies for an injured Joel while recalling her time with Riley. We can assume that Season 2 will begin with some of the events of the second game, The Last of Us Part 2, as both the first game and the add-on are now confirmed to be featured in Season 1. Since both Joel and Ellie appear in The Last of Us Part 2, we can anticipate Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey to reprise their roles as those characters. Although there is a 5-year gap between the games, Bella Ramsey would portray a character that is closer to her actual age than she does in Season 1. Joel's brother Tommy, who is portrayed by Gabriel Luna in Season 1, also appears in the plot. Additionally, Abby Anderson, Ellie's girlfriend Dina, and Joel's brother Tommy are introduced. Characters such as have not yet been cast in their respective roles. Lavin, Yara, Jesse, Owen. The Last of Us Season 2 plot. What will happen? After a brief introduction, the second game immediately picks up 5 years after The Last of Us events, with Joel and Ellie, who is now 19 years old, living in Jackson, Wyoming. Joel and his brother Tommy come across Abby and save her from an infected horde when they are on a routine patrol. The brothers are attacked as they go to an outpost that her organization, the former Fireflies, who are now a militia group known as the WLF, is using as a hideout. Ellie and her partner Dina set out to see Tommy and Joel after a series of unspoilable incidents, and when they arrived, they discovered Abby had murdered Joel. In order to find Abby, Tommy, Ellie, and Dina travel to Seattle. Unfortunately, this puts them right in the path of the Seraphites, a religious sect that is at war with the WLF for control of the city. Of course, there are many more events as well. But the key point is that Pedro Pascal and Joel don't progress very far in the narrative. The second season would primarily center on Ellie, Dina, and Abby, as well as possibly Tommy, with Joel only making brief appearances before he is killed off or in flashbacks later on. The Last of Us Season 2 trailer. When can I watch it? The Last of Us second season has not yet begun production, so it will be a while before any fresh material is ready for a trailer. Naturally, as soon as a trailer is available, it will be available on YouTube. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, make sure to like and subscribe for more.